When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
All right, listeners. Hello. 2024 is so awesome already. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and at no surprise, I have a wonderful guest today. Juli Shulem is here today with us. And here's the thing that I really love about Juli. She just gets right down to it. Like, this is how you get organized. And by getting organized, you can be more productive. But some people might say, yeah, well, I've been labeled or I've been told that I'm ADHD. So that doesn't work for me. Well, Juli's here to tell you that it does. So if you have been labeled or have a diagnosis of ADHD, you want to listen to this show because we're going to be diving in a lot about that. And if you don't have ADHD, you still want to listen to the show because we are going to be talking about productivity and getting organized. But before I do, I would like to thank the sponsor of today's show, Animated Holiday Lights. At our company, we're dedicated to transforming spaces into extraordinary wonderlands through our expertly crafted permanent light installations. With a team of skilled professionals and a passion for spreading joy and cheer, we strive to create captivating light displays that leave a lasting impression, and you never need to climb a ladder again. Our lights can dance to music, any song, any color, any holiday. From residential homes to commercial properties, our permanent light installations are designed to enhance the beauty and festive spirit of any location. We take pride in our attention to detail, use high quality materials and advanced techniques to create stunning visual experiences that surpass expectations. Join us on this magical journey as we bring the holiday spirit to life through our dancing permanent light installations. Explore our portfolio and see the transformative power of work. Visit animatedlights.com today and let us create an enchanting holiday experience that will leave you a lasting impression. And so many people think that's only for Christmas or for Hanukkah or for, New Year's or for Thanksgiving. But I will tell you that we have animated holiday lights on our house and they're used for every occasion. So a birthday, we use it for the Super Bowl, for the teams, the colors. So you can use it for every holiday, Veterans Day, whatever it might be. It's just beautiful. Never have to get up on a ladder again. That's my favorite part. I never have to get up on a ladder again. So let's talk about Coach Juli Shulem that's here. She's a productivity coach and industrial organizational psychologist. She's an expert in helping those struggling with organizing, productivity, and follow through. With coaching, her clients become more efficient, less stressed, and better able to manage their lives. She coaches around overwhelm and frustration reduction, productivity, task time management, prior to Colleen. Would you please get your tongue out of your mouth and stop? It's like my first day with my lips, right? Prioritizing, decision-making, plus leadership techniques, communication, and the special challenges of life with ADHD. I don't know what she doesn't do after reading that. Most of Juli's clients are solopreneurs or corporate leaders around the world in the Fortune 100 and 500 companies. Coach Juli, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here, Colleen.
You have a very special niche and working with individuals that are ADHD. How did you discover that? Did you start out wanting to work with only people that were ADHD, or to kind of wind the clock back and help us understand your journey to getting there? So many people out there are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my why is. How did you discover that for yourself?
That is such a great question, and I love answering this one because it's an interesting story. I started out in my career, and I've been a solopreneur my entire career, my entire adult life. actually from college. I started doing a lot of my work when I worked my way through college. And I started out actually as a professional organizer before that was a thing. Before the National Association even existed, I was doing this. And I did this in medical and dental offices, and then expanded that to other offices and other kinds of businesses. And in the course of doing this, I was doing a lot of business consulting, training, speaking, and such. And in the course of 1 year, every one of my clients said, "Oh, by the way, I have ADHD. Does that change anything?" Now, that was when it was ADD. The DSM-4 was different than the DSM-5. And oh, gosh, that explains so much, because I was having to create some very unique and different systems for the way my clients' brains were working. I didn't really know that much about ADHD at the time. So I did some quick peddling, and I learned, and I found out all about this diagnosis. And it was at the same time that my son was exhibiting symptoms of ADHD at a very young age. And then I started realizing, okay, there's more to this than I've been aware of. It started showing up in a lot of people that I was surrounded by. And I realized there's not a lot of information about this. And this is a very misunderstood and underserved population. And I realized, well, I've been able to help all these people that have ADHD, and it's changed their lives. Well, what if I did that for more people with ADHD? So I kind of made it my thing, my specialty, to really help those with ADHD, because after going to a lot of courses and being part of CHAD and being part of other organizations with in the ADHD world, I realized, okay, there are a lot of people. It turned out that I think at that point, the statistics were somewhere around 35% of entrepreneurs had ADHD.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of people that I can help.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurs, wow, okay, well, I was an entrepreneur, so there are my people. And I started making this something that I could really work at and help people more and more. So I became an expert, and I started working alongside psychologists and therapists and psychiatrists. And they've been referring patients to me for many, many years, because I kind of pick up where they leave off. So they get through a lot of the stuff that they need to deal with. And then I can kind of dovetail on that and teach the skills that the person that has been struggling with their executive functioning ability needs, and what can help them move forward. So it in a way, in reality, not in a way, but the real thing is ADHD clients that kind of found me. So my niche found me. I didn't know to go after it, but once I realized, okay, this is where I want this is the lane I want to drive in, and that's kind of how it started. And that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's been doing a long time. Yeah. I haven't had a challenge in finding people, or they're finding me, actually.
When we talk about getting organized, I feel so strongly about this. You cannot be productive if you're not organized, because things are just all out of whack. And I had someone say to me the other day, I clean my desk, I clean my office, I clean my space. And I just felt so much more like free, and I felt like I could focus more, and I had clarity, and I could be more productive. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what happens when you organize your space. So a lot of people think it's just getting organized on their calendar. It's just getting organized in their business. But I really think that a lot of it is getting organized in your surroundings as well. Like your car that you drive, or is your car organized, or is it a complete mess? I've gotten in plenty of people's cars where there's just trash and it's super unorganized and stuff everywhere. How they do one thing is how they do everything. So I know exactly what their house looks like. I know exactly how their life looks like. I know what how they function. Right. So what would you say to someone that is like, okay, so getting organized, you started as an organizer. What are the first things that someone can do to move toward productivity? So they're like, 2024 is going to be different for me. I really want to be productive. Now, this could be a person in corporate America. This could be a person as an entrepreneur. We have listeners that are in every genre. So it really doesn't matter what you do for business. Being productive means being productive. So maybe it's about being productive
Yeah.
as a mom, or getting organized with your kids' sports stuff. I have so many moms that said, last second all this stuff was dropping in on me and I had to get presents for this teacher, and then I had people dropping by my house with presents. I had nothing to give them, and they were so stressed out all the time because they weren't organized. It's a big thing. And I do think it causes stress, which, by the way, because I'm so into health and talk a lot about health, stress will kill you. I'm just going to plain and simple. It will shorten your life and it will kill you. There is no need to stress over anything. It's just a worry that is not warranted ever for anything, because it doesn't solve anything. It doesn't do anything. It's just a thing that affects your body. So if someone wants to get organized, what are some great steps that they can take to get organized?
So depending upon where their biggest mess is. So I always help someone start with, where's the biggest problem? Because once you get that sorted, everything else is just kind of like a cakewalk, right? So my whole role, my world is really helping people to close the gap between what they're doing and what they want to be doing, where they are, where they'd like to be.
Perfect.
So we start with, and I used to, when I was organizing exclusively, what I used to do is like, okay, we're gonna organize the environment, and then the person who lives in it or works in it. So it's organizing not just your space, which I'll get to in a minute, but also your mind and your mindset. Because if you're kind of running around doing things, haphazardly, well, that reflects your how you function. It reflects how you're thinking, and it also tends to spill out into where you're working and living. So for a lot of people, especially the people that I tend to work with, we want to get rid of clutter. This seems to permeate everyone's environments to a degree that is just not okay. And getting rid of the clutter will get rid of the visual distractions. It gets rid of the anxiety. People don't realize that when you walk into a disorganized place, it's psychologically debilitating. Walking into a desk with a bunch of stuff on it, all that is saying is, this is all the stuff you haven't done yet. This is where you have not succeeded. Yeah. Who wants to walk into a place and have that hit them? That's not the way to live.
No.
So if you can create a space that's peaceful, that's just really wonderful. I'll tell you, I had a client years ago that they were considering hiring me, and it was a couple, and the wife was like 100%. Okay, when can you start? And the husband was very skeptical. It turned out he had the biggest, messiest office ever. So that guy got that. He was afraid. Well, what's this woman going to come in and do? So he challenged me. And he said, so you are so organized. Are your clothes in color order? And are your spices alphabetized? I said, yeah. Do you want to come see? Now, they didn't live very far. So I said, yeah, come on. And I literally brought them over to my house.
Yeah.
Now, I had not planned for this, but my house was always in order, beautifully. And I walked in, he came in, and I showed the color. I said, here, I literally showed them my closet. Yes, my color, they're categorized in color order, still are. And yes, my spices were alphabetized, and my house was immaculate.
Yeah.
And not just clean, but tidy and organized.
Of course.
And he walked around and goes, you're hired. Just like that. Okay. I do practice what I preach. And
that's a great point. The practicing what you preach. How you
always
do one thing is how you do everything.
And I also make sure that the things that I recommend and train clients on, these are all tried and true. These are things that either there's a ton of research on, which I have done a lot of the research and read a lot of the research on, but also these are things that have been working for my clients for decades.
Yeah.
So this stuff it works. And with all the technology, you still have to clean your space. You still have to, get through stuff. And a lot of it has to do with stopping or preventing the clutter and the disorganization from the get-go. And that comes down to having systems. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of one of the big things that I work on is creating systems or methods for doing something. When you know you're going to be buying some new whatever widget. Well, do you have other widgets that are similar that maybe aren't working anymore? Well, get rid of those to replace the new. Don't just hoard it and then just have a collection of broken and good widgets. You want to always make sure that you've got the best tools and materials for what you do available to you, and don't have a bunch of extra that isn't serving you. I have a quote that I always say, if it's not servicing you, it's burdening you. So get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's doing one of two things. That could be a system, an item, a person. It could be a wide variety of things. So that mindset really does help. But getting to the point where, I need this done. This is now holding me back from the things I want to do, the things that bring me joy, the things that move me forward, that allow me to spend time with people. Mm-hmm. I've had clients who would never even have someone over to their home because it was so disorganized, they were embarrassed. And there's a lot of shame around for those people that are disorganized and who are not doing things in a timely manner. And if you're working in a space that is disorderly, that's going to hinder your ability to follow through. If you're finding that you're looking for things repeatedly, well, you need to create a system around that so that you know where that thing goes. And that thing always goes there every single time. It's non-negotiable. It's just like, when you put your phone down, well, do you just put it all over the place? No, it should have one home. When you walk in, where does it go? I know that, things of importance in tech always on my, in my office. I will make a special trip all the way down the hall to my office in order to make sure that those things that get taken care of in the office are in the office. Mail goes in the office. It doesn't sit on the kitchen counter and places like that. That's not where I'm going to handle it. So always making sure that you're doing the things in the right order and you're putting things where they belong the first time. And of course, start by creating the spot that everything goes to. Everything should have a home. We've all heard
everything
that for
should
decades.
have a home. It's like
everything should have a home.
When you're talking about finances, every dollar should have a place it's supposed to go, right? So, and if you don't know where it's supposed to go, you're unorganized in your finances. I'll tell a quick story. I had an ex-daughter-in-law, hint, ex-daughter-in-law, walk into my house before they had gotten married. And somehow, I don't know what we were doing. We must have had a family gathering and she had gotten in my pantry and she's like, all of your cabinets look like this? And I said, yes. Why? I mean, to me, it was like, no brainer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, normal.
It's like, well, all your label, like you have all your cans grouped together and all your labels are facing out. So you're like one of those. Yep. I said, I'm one of those because I really didn't know what she was talking about. I'm organized. Is that what you're saying? Like, I don't even know why someone wouldn't be organized. So I was like, yep, I'm one of those. Like, I love to have things so organized that if my husband calls me and says, hey, I can't find blah, 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 I can say it's on the fourth shelf on the right side behind this can, And he's like, oh, it's right there. How'd you know that? Because I organized the pantry. That's how I know it was there. It could be any closet. So I would say to anyone out there as my hint, and then I would love for you to give your advice, start by cleaning out one thing. So my husband and I started organizing and cleaning. I've been organized my entire life because it's just the way I love to live my life. I want to know where everything is. I like to have a very tidy home. Again, it's not that it's clean all the time. I have someone come and clean every 3 weeks because when they come back, they're like, well, there's still like vacuum lines in this room. And that bathroom hasn't been used. And it's like, well, every 2 weeks is too much. Every 4 weeks is too long because you've got to dust and mop and, all that stuff. So I find that I'm more productive when I keep my house tidy and organized, and they come and clean for me. That allows me to keep doing the things that I need to do, whether it's personal time with my grandkids or, for work. So that's what I do. And I would say start small. My husband and I started, we watched all these minimalist things and we're like, we just have too much stuff. So we started cleaning out, and we started with our linen closet. And I had sheets and bedspreads from my kids' beds. Kids, they're all adults. They all live on their own houses. My kids' beds that I didn't even have that size in the house anymore. I didn't even have a double bed or a queen bed I didn't have any of the, and I was like, why am I holding it? I didn't even know they were in there. I just move them from house to house, pack them in the linen closet. We cleaned out that closet and got rid of and donated so much stuff. It just felt like, wow, there's so much space in here. And it's a psyche thing. Like you said, I just felt, wow, I feel so organized, and I got to donate and give away some things to other people that might need them. And why was I holding on to all of this? It was just stuff, I was stuffing in the linen closet. So I would say to anyone listening, start small and just maybe clean out a linen closet or something small. Maybe not hit the pantry or like your closet where all your clothes are just yet. But I do that. My husband and I's rule is you buy new clothes, something's got to go.
And gotta go.
Something's got to go.
Same rule.
Because I'm not buying more hangers. And that's kind of my thing. If I have to go buy more hangers, that means I'm buying more clothes. So it's easy to go through your closet and say, I haven't worn this forever. I don't even like it anymore. And just donate. And so there's a bag always readily available that we're putting things into on a regular basis. When it gets full, then I take it down and I donate that bag. Yeah. It's kind of
we get along so well, Colleen, because it's exactly what I do. But you know what? The people that I work with, that's a challenge for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because, particularly if someone with ADHD is trying to declutter and organize, it requires a lot of decision making. Those with ADHD often have challenges making decisions. Should I keep it? Should I get rid of it? Where should it? Well, if I get rid of it, then where am I going to go? Where's it going to go? And then they'll put it in their car and drive around with it for months.
Wow.
Because they can't decide where it needs to go. And then, oh, well, maybe I should keep it. Let me go put it back in the house. I've seen this happen. And so when it comes down to it, you have to be able to know that, you know what, my life is not going to come to an end if I part with this thing. And if I need another one in the future, I can get it. We all can get stuff. That's not a problem. But you don't need 5 of something. And, for the most part, one is enough. One working item is good. But to your point, one of the things that I do is when I've got someone who they've just got lots of spaces that need work, is I have them start with this one simple step. Put a notepad on a clipboard and you go around your house or your office and you write down in categories. Say, okay, dining room, the areas that need to be handled in the dining room, buffet, the table, the different areas, whatever has some issues, you start making a list. And just make the list. Just start by making the list. Because a lot of people, they get overwhelmed with, but if I start here, then what am I going to do with that place? And that, it's like one begets another. And it kind of turns into this cycle of, well, once I started here, and then I got up and like, well, I went to go put this in the bathroom. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't put it there because the drawers are so full. So then I have to empty all the drawers. And then I start doing that. And then I end up with, then now I have to bring that into the kitchen. That shouldn't be in the bathroom, and bring it to the kitchen. And then okay, so this is what happens.
The house becomes
spiral.
Yes.
Yes. It's like a tornado has come through and came back to finish the job, right? So I help people to rein this in. Like, okay, you got this list, and then here's the catch. You want to schedule time to do this. This shouldn't be something where you just kind of get on a roll and then you hyper focus on it. Is sometimes when we get into something, we're like, oh, I want to finish it. Well, you may not have time to finish it. So here's what I do. And I actually discuss this and go through this whole thing in my course. I have a course called Your Life Productive Finally. And there's a whole module, 2 modules on this kind of process. But what you do is you want to schedule a set amount of time every day. I tell people, you know what, start with just half an hour, 30 minutes a day. You know what? In a week, that's 3.5 hours of organizing you have not been doing before. That's going to get you very far. And you schedule the time and you pick one spot. And I have people do one or two things wherever they're comfortable. Either pick the easiest spot that you feel you can succeed at quickly, like you have just described, or pick your messiest spot. Because that way you get rid of the one that's hanging over your head, that's really bothering you. And you will start at one of these two places and you set a timer. So you set a timer, you work for 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a good amount of time where you can get something done, but it's not to the point where you feel, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to, I can't survive this. This is too much time. So 30 minutes, great. Set a timer, work for 30 minutes. That's your commitment. As soon as you get that 30 minutes done, when that timer goes off, you have succeeded.
Nice.
You have finished the time. I always say you'll do the time. You may not finish the project, but you will finish the time. And you have success associated with that. A lot of times people will start getting organized in the space. They start going through stuff and then they get overwhelmed and they get burned out. And they're like, yeah, that thing, never doing that again. And then they leave a bigger mess.
Yeah.
Because now all the stuff's come up out of the cabinets and the drawers in the closet. So then they have proof to themselves that they can't do this. That's not the way it goes. You can do it. You just have to be patient and give yourself increments of time to do it in and have the consistency. And then once you get everything in its home and you've gotten things pared down to a reasonable amount, and my way of saying, okay, what's in a reasonable amount? That which fits in the space you have.
Right.
If you've got a huge closet, then you could probably have a few other things that someone with a smaller closet doesn't. If you have a little pantry, well, you're going to be going shopping a little bit more frequently. It's just the way it is. You only have the space you got to work with. Work with it. That's the only way to really deal with it. And once you start getting everything all done, then it's just maintenance. Yeah. And I'm sure you could agree with me. Maintenance, that's easy.
So easy. Everything just
goes where it goes.
Yeah,
it's goes a habit. It becomes a habit, and you don't have to think about it. And that's the thing is, when you get your space organized. I had a client, same thing. He was just so stuck. I get people unstuck, and they're done. So I help them to go in and like, okay, what can you fix? And he realized, he goes, okay, my room is so unpleasant to be in. I just don't want to be in here. Well, that's also where he did his work. Okay, so he's not doing his work. So that's okay. What can you do? What one or two things can you do? He says, well, that needs to be done. And this is okay. How will you go about doing it? So I get them to the point where they can verbalize the steps, the process. If they get stuck, I help along, of course. But then we schedule the time for that to be done. Okay, so in 1 week's time, after a session, this guy was able to completely redo his whole room. And I'm doing this all virtually. I can organize any space virtually now, even though I used to do it in person many years ago. And just show me what you got. Take a picture and send it to me, or we just do it virtually. And I'm sitting there right there with him, and I'm like, okay, well, I taught the process of how to make those decisions. Okay. How do you does this work for you? When was the last time you used it? Does it fit? Do you like it? Does it make you feel good? If you can't answer positively to the kinds of questions of, the value of keeping something, then it needs to go. And he organized the whole room. He was beaming like you could not believe. The next time we got into session, I said, how you doing? He goes, oh my God, I can't wait to show you what I did. And he was so excited. And all of a sudden he's like, well, now I can work. And he wants to go back to school. But he didn't feel like he could, because he was so stuck with his physical space holding him back. So, well, how can I do all that when I've got this that's weighing on me that I haven't done? And that can be both a physical thing, a physical environment thing, and it can also be a list of tasks and things
Mhm.
that we want to get done that we just haven't managed to get done. So that's why I say it's not just the environment; it's a mindset, it's
Mhm.
how someone functions. It all kind of has to come together, and then people could just you get to live your life.
Yeah.
Really, that's what it comes down to. You get to live your life, not feel like you're constantly just putting out fires all day long.
Oh my gosh. So for sure. So if you're ADHD and you're like, I struggle with getting organized because of the decision making, I struggle with, being productive. That's a big problem for me. Coach Julie is probably the person you need to talk to. There's a lot of ways you can connect with her. What is the ideal way, Julie, for people to connect with you?
The ideal way is just go to my website. All my links to everything and
Yeah.
all my contact information there is there. My website is Coach Juli, and Juli is spelled Juli. There's no E at the end. Just CoachJuli.com. You can't not find me.
Yeah. I love
and
that.
I have my email address there, which is balance@CoachJuli.com. Again, very easy. And send me an email, and we can have a consultation and see how we can work together.
I love that. And I will tell you that she has some other ways you can connect with her here on YouTube if that's where you want to go, Instagram, LinkedIn. Find what works for you. And, whatever your favorite social media platform is, and you can find Coach Julie there. She gave you a lot of tips today on how to get started to get out of that rut. And why not make 2024 your year of organization? If my house was messy all the time, it would just be a big problem. It would really throw me
Yeah.
off course. Like I know that having an organized house and knowing where everything is extremely important to me. And it does not take a lot of work once you're organized. You just, like you said, put things back in
Yeah,
its
it
place.
doesn't.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
So I just want to tell our listeners, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that's ever going to be. You are unique. So, how do you want to design this life of yours and design your space, design your calendar, design your business, design meetings that you have, whatever that looks like? How do you want to be organized to be productive in that? Make that a priority for yourself this year. It is so important and it will change your life. It'll reduce your stress. You'll be happier. I guarantee it because there's not this clutter and that makes a huge difference in your life. So, even if you really just want to get organized and productive and have Coach Julie help you out with that, make sure you reach out to her and go to CoachJulie.com. Julie, thank you so much for being a guest on our show today.
Colleen,
It was so much
uh,
fun. So
it was
many
great.
great nuggets.
Thank you. It was an honor. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it was a
Thank you.
lot of fun. And listeners, thank you again for being so loyal to Take the Leap and for supporting the Leap community. Don't forget, we have the Empower and Elevate conference coming up in Arizona on March 22nd. We still have tickets available for that. You do not want to miss that. It's a great place to network with a ton of small business owners. So we hope you can make that live in Arizona on March 22nd. And until then, don't forget, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.